The following podcast is a deep, shallow dive production.
And you're going to love it.
Okay, let's go.
Tonight, dramatic new video of the fiery Delta plane crash outside Toronto, showing the moment of impact, the flames, the right wing tearing off, and the left wing flipping the plane over.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Happy Thursday. Oh, man, here we go again. Seriously, it's like the latest crisis du jour seems to be happening with airplanes. And every day you wake up and you see frickin' something different going on with an airplane. It kind of does make you nervous to fly. I don't know. It makes me nervous to fly. I don't know about you guys, but anyway, all right, listen, this Toronto situation, I'm sure you've seen it by now. It's a Delta flight. It basically looks like it came and landed, and then it kind of flipped onto its right side and ended up upside down. All right, some of you are going to think I'm crazy with this, but just hear me out on this. Seriously, just hear me out on this.
First, the approach.
It does seem to be slightly right-wing low.
There was no attempt to flare at all, which slows the plane down. It'll put your back wheels on the runway first.
Why was that? Was there some sort of what we call wind shear?
The weather at the time, cold, some blowing snow, and wind gusts up to 38 miles per hour.
All right, that was CNN. I thought that was funny. The weather at the time, cold, some wind gusts up to 38 miles an hour. That's like nothing. 38 miles an hour of wind gusts is nothing. If that is able to flip a plane over, you'd have planes being flipped over 20 times a day. Well, 5,000 times a day, 5 million times a day. See what I just went overboard there. Anyway, okay, so God. All right, how am I gonna broach this? I'm going to broach this by saying the situation was weird to me. And the reason it was weird is because here's kind of my thought process. And honestly, I mean, I had one friend say, dude, do you trust anything these days? And I said, well, I trust you. You're a real one. And he said, okay, I appreciate that. But here is my thought process. So when I saw it happen, I immediately kind of, I don't know, the initial video that got released was a video of the people getting out of the plane. It was like this, Blair Witch Project video that lasted, 8 to 10 seconds of people, kind of scurrying out of the plane after supposedly, and again, I guess, I'm going to say supposedly they were, hanging upside down and, let themselves out of their seatbelt. And then what the heck? They just fell on their head, but they basically were being shown like, exiting the plane in a very chaotic fashion. Actually, what was funny was if you slowed it down a little, the flight attendant pushed the person in her butt or his butt 2 times. It was funny. It was like the flight attendant copped a feel. Anyway, okay. So immediately in my mind, I thought, wow, that's kind of weird that is the first video. And literally that was the first video that was going around social media. There was no video yet showing the flight and the plane and all that. So I thought, well, that's a little bit strange. And then it made me think like, God, I have to imagine airports have to be highly surveilled, meaning there's gotta be a ton of cameras around airports where you basically are monitoring everything, I have to imagine. So I asked ChatGPT and said, ChatGPT, Toronto Pearson Airport, is that known to have high security, and are there a lot of cameras? And then ChatGPT replied, yes, airports are some of the most heavily surveilled public spaces. They have extensive camera systems covering every area. Toronto Pearson International in particular is known to employ extensive outdoor surveillance systems, and some estimates have that it has over 3,000 high-definition cameras. So in my mind, I'm like, oh my God, you've got 3,000 high definition cameras. Why is the media running with a clip that, Bernie Shaglow filmed on his iPhone as he's exiting the plane after this near death experience. And then that was the other thing in my mind. Like, I do a lot of role reversal, and I also do a lot of like putting myself in that situation. And I'm thinking, if I am on that plane and we touched ground, and then within, I don't know, 6 seconds, literally flipped upside down, right? So we flip upside down. First of all, I would be freaking out. So we flip upside down. And then I'm hanging upside down, hopefully, because hopefully I had my seatbelt on and I had not taken it off. But then I'm hanging upside down. Okay. And then what is that mental process that I'm going through, being like, oh my God, I can't believe our plane just flipped over. Now I'm hanging upside down, probably like scared out of my mind. And your heart is probably racing 1,000,000 miles a second. You're super glad you're still alive, obviously. But at the same time, it's like gotta be very nerve-wracking. So then, I let myself out of my seatbelt. What do? Just release my seatbelt, and then think about it. You will literally fall 3 feet, maybe 3 or 4 feet, and then, ideally not get injured. So after that entire process, I fell 3 or 4 feet on my head, on my neck. I did not get injured. Like, who on God's earth in and after all of that thinks to themselves, hey, let me pull out my cell phone. Sorry, my voice. Hold on, let me take a sip of tea. All right, I'm back. So again, seriously, like envision this happening to you. You just landed, holy mackerel, the plane flips over. I mean, that is gotta feel insane. You're hanging upside down, right? That's gotta feel insane. Everybody's must be screaming their heads off, like going nuts, right? And everybody's hanging upside down like a bunch of bats. And then you're released, you fall, don't fall, don't hurt yourself, whatever. You've gotten through all of that. And then as you're exiting the plane, the first thought in your mind is, let me pull out my cell phone and record myself exiting the plane. That's just weird. And then here's the thing. The guy this first video that was released, it was as if you're filming in front of yourself, right? So the guy was filming the person in front of him getting kind of like, ushered out of the plane. That's wild to me. That is seriously wild to me. Like, I can't even fathom doing that. Why the hell would you, like, are you that narcissistic and that like, oh, this is a great social media opportunity. Let me pull out my phone and I'm going to like walk with my phone recording. And he wasn't even recording himself, like a selfie, like, oh my God, I can't believe our plane just flipped over. This is crazy. Da, da, da. He's recording in front of him. So it's showing the people escorting or getting ushered off the plane. And by the way, when this happened, I mean, I'm totally on top of this stuff. Like, I am absolutely scouring social media to see what is getting posted. And like I said, that was the first video, the absolute first video that was getting posted. It was getting run on CNN, MSNBC, Fox, all these places. The second video that was posted was a video of the plane upside down. You see the Delta upside down. And this one, it looked like whoever was filming it was using like the wide angle on their iPhone, which that was a little bit weird. And then the audio was super goofy. Hold on, let me see if I can download this.
We're in Toronto. We just landed. Our plane crashed. It's upside down. Fire department's on site. Upside down.
It's hard to understand, but it almost had like a reverb to it, which is ironically a setting and a situation that you can apply to a video in a program like I'm using right now called GarageBand, which I've talked about a bunch of times. And so that reverb sound, that's hard to get that when recording it directly into your phone. And so now, again, imagine, you're shooting video with your phone. First of all, you're outside and it's probably crazy loud at that point. So the way that audio sounded attached to, again, that second clip, which was like the wide angle lens showing the plane upside down, I don't know. It was just goofy and it didn't make sense to me either. So just to recap, the first video that got released, again, what I wrote on what I posted on social media was, who films after just flipping upside down in a plane? Come on, you just flipped upside down and almost died. P.S. The flight attendant copped 2 feels, which was true. The flight attendant did cop 2 feels. And then the second video, what I wrote is, this is the other video that is everywhere, shot with wide angle weird audio. And then again, remember, there are over 3,000 camera surveillances everywhere at Toronto Pearson Airport, but there's no footage showing the plane, flying in, showing the plane landing and all that. Now that came 12 hours later, but there was no initial footage, showing the plane. There was no audio, nor has there been any audio released of, and here's where we get into the third video, the pilot talking to air traffic control. Like, again, remember, all of this stuff is highly recorded. It is highly professional. It is highly kind of regimented, the way pilots talk with air traffic control on landing and during their approach and all of that stuff. It's completely recorded and regulated. And again, to this moment of this podcast, they have not obviously released the air traffic control talking between the pilot and the air traffic controlman or control tower or whatever. So the third video that then got released, this one to me was even weirder. And you've probably seen this. This one is showing the plane basically landing, but it is being shot by what looks like another pilot inside a plane. At first I thought he was inside his car. And then on a bunch of social media threads that I read, people were like, well, people love to film planes landing, so he's probably, some type of aviation fan sitting inside his car filming planes land. I mean, I guess that could be true. It seems a little strange that you're going to do it in the dead of winter when it's super cold in Toronto, but whatever, maybe you will. But then when you look at the actual video and he pans across at the bottom of his screen, he pans across his cockpit dashboard, and also the windshield was divided in several sections the way planes are, then it becomes obvious that this video is being shot inside another plane that is maybe on a perpendicular runway waiting to taxi in order to take off. So then the question becomes, actually, let me play you this audio. This is the third video that honestly was everywhere. It's the same 3 videos everywhere, by the way. And this is the third one.
Oh, fuck. Oh, fuck. Oh, no. Tower, you're seeing this airplane just crash into 3. Oh, my God. Oh, my God.
All right, again, it's hard to understand, but basically the guy, and again, this is 100% that he's inside what looks like the cockpit of, maybe a small Cessna or something like that. But he's like, fuck. Oh, no. And then all of a sudden he goes, Tower, are you seeing this plane crash?
Tower, you're seeing this airplane just crash into 3.
So again, he says, Tower, are you seeing this airplane just crash into 3? It sounds like that part was muted. But again, that is not how pilots communicate with air traffic control. Like, if you've ever heard that, let me see if I can pull a random one.
Okay, because my God, there's another plane out there. It's like 6 miles away. Your attitude is really something, sir. We're out here on mic. Good morning. Good morning. There was no attitude. I was just trying to correct you. That's my job to correct you if you mess up. I'm trying to make sure everybody's done with.
Well, I don't know what the deal was between those two, but that was tense. But again, you know, every time you hear audio of a pilot talking to air traffic control, it's got that vibe. Now listen to this guy again.
Tower, you're seeing this airplane just crash into 3.
I mean, it just doesn't sound right. It doesn't. And by the way, quote unquote tower never even responded to him. That video actually goes on for maybe 6 or 7 more seconds, and there was no response from tower. So I found that very weird. But again, the whole, I guess even when he was talking, it just did not sound normal. It just sounded like he was talking into his voice recording on his cell phone.
4146, you want to go to Columbus at 10,000 feet?
We're going to pass on that, but thanks.
Okay.
All right, I just played you another one. You know, and again, the other thing is it's very professional when you hear any pilot, and again, it doesn't matter if it's a commercial airliner or a twin engine Cessna. I don't even know what I'm talking about, by the way. I'm like thinking I've heard the term twin engine Cessna before. I don't even know if that makes any sense. But anyway, whenever you hear anyone, even a student pilot for that matter, you know, communicating with air traffic control or quote unquote tower, you know, they speak pilot lingo. There's a very, very professional and almost, what's the word I'm looking for? I don't know. It's just, there is pilot lingo and they all speak it, and that's how they communicate. It's not casual conversation between two people like this.
Tower, you're seeing this airplane just crash into 3.
Again, that sounds like bro talking to one of his bros. Tower, you seen this airplane crash into 3. Anyway, that's that stuff. Those are the first 3 videos. And again, it's just weird. It doesn't feel right to me. And so I did have one friend say, well, what the hell, dude? You're telling me they faked all of that? They faked like a plane flipping over, and then how did they get the plane to flip over? Because there's other video of it. You know, I don't know, man. I don't know. But what I do know is the concept of crisis actors and the concept of obviously, you know, staging things. I think that 100% is viable. And I think that absolutely is something that is done. You know, when they talk about the term crisis actors.
This is the most evil of conspiracy theories, right?
Right.
But this crisis actor thing, imagine if you just start seeing like AI people in every fucking movie, every disaster movie. You see that same guy.
Yeah.
Like, that's that dude.
Yeah.
And that
like
dude probably got paid $200.
It's like the Wilhelm scream, but with like people's faces.
Right.
Yeah,
right,
that's what it'll be like. Oh, if it's a disaster scene, you know, this guy's in it.
Well, maybe they'll be able to morph your image, give you a mustache, fake nose. Yeah, I'm sure they can. You can tweak your face. I mean, they can face swap you with different extras. They can do all kinds of stuff.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
So that was a Joe Rogan episode where he was talking all about crisis actors and then saying that, you know, the next level of crisis actors is these guys using AI to basically create crisis actors. And by the way, I'm telling you, if you guys have not played around with the various AI related stuff, I'm not even talking now about ChatGPT or Gemini or Claude by Anthropic or Microsoft Copilot or Perplexity, by the way. All 5 of those are ones that you should play around with, and I'm going to delve into more in other sessions. Oh, by the way, I'm actually working on a really good either webinar or potentially just a presentation that explains all 5 of those. And when it's ready, I will host it on the internet, and all of my valued Deep Shallow Dive listeners are going to get free access to that. So anyway, that's coming soon. All right, sorry. But to get back on track, I mean, the ability to create scenes that look so unbelievably real using this AI. For example, you know, a prompt such as give me a video that shows a 757 landing in very snowy conditions, and then once it hits the runway, the right wing breaks off and the plane flips over and you see tremendous amounts of smoke and fire. I'm not even kidding. That exact prompt using a variety of different AI softwares can create a video that is so realistic, you won't know what's real and what's fake. Let me play the rest of this Joe Rogan clip because he talks about something, ironically, I saw maybe a year ago, and it was a video of a car that was on fire.
What they can do, did you see the Unreal 5 video game engine?
Yeah,
the car on fire. Jamie, see if you could play that. Someone said, I forget the tweet, but it was something along the lines of, you're not going to be able to ever know what's real again.
No, and if it feels this way looking at the news with what's going on over in Israel and Palestine, it's like, what am I seeing?
Oh, that's interesting. I didn't know that clip ended with him or whoever that guest was talking about Israel Palestine. I'll have to see what else he said about that, whether he was saying what we're seeing in Israel Palestine is fake and AI, because I can tell you that definitely is not fake. I follow enough of the Palestinian or global press on Instagram where, they're posting their videos and they're in the videos and yeah, that stuff, unfortunately, I wish that stuff was AI, but unfortunately that's not AI. But anyway, the point is, this whole thing, and, I'll kind of bring this to a wrap here, but what is taking place and what I saw with the Toronto situation, again, I don't know if it's real or not, but it was and continues to be super weird to me. They brought a couple of the passengers and they got interviewed on MSNBC and CNN. Hold on, let me see if I can find this. All right, this is George Stephanopoulos, and the dude they interviewed, it's the same guy on every network. His name is John Nelson.
Walk us through what happened. Any warning at all?
No, it was a normal flight from, Minneapolis. I had been on the flight from Detroit coming into Toronto here.
All right, really quick. That was weird, actually. He said normal flight from Minneapolis. I had been on the flight from Detroit to Toronto. That was weird. Maybe he just misspoke.
No, it was a normal flight from, Minneapolis. I had been on the flight from Detroit coming into Toronto here.
All right. I didn't even pick up on that until I just heard it. But let's listen to the rest of what he says. So again, remember, this is the main passenger that they started interviewing. And again, this was his first interview that he did with George Stephanopoulos on Good Morning ABC.
I was paying attention, watching out the window as we were coming in. I did notice, the winds were whipping pretty hard and the runways were snow covered.
Did the pilot say anything?
No, there was no warning. We were coming in for a landing, and when the plane came in, we hit the runway really hard and extremely hard, and we kind of popped up, and it felt like we were leaning to the left.
Okay, now again, something interesting. If you've seen the video, you clearly see the plane falls over to the right. So in all of the videos, actually, it's just that one video that was being shown, but the plane basically falls and leans over to the right. Now, he says leaning to the left. Now, again, I'll give him the benefit of the doubt on that, but if you watch this guy in this video, I don't know, man. It's just goofy. He really feels like and looks like a crisis actor to me. He really does. Okay, let's listen to the rest.
And then what happened was it was just incredibly fast. There was a giant firewall down the side. I could actually feel the heat through the glass. And then we were going sideways. I'm not even sure how many times we tumbled.
Okay, I think this gets addressed in a few seconds. But again, he says we're going sideways. I'm not even sure how many times we tumbled. Like it flipped over multiple times, like a race car at Daytona. All right, just let's listen to that again.
Sideways. I'm not even sure how many times we tumbled, but we ended upside down. I was hanging there in my seatbelt upside down.
So you're saying how many times? You think you flipped more than once?
All right, good work on George Stephanopoulos' part. So he says, you're saying more than once. You feel like you flipped more than once. And again, if you watch the video, you can see his face. He's kind of like, oh, fuck, what did I say? I shouldn't have said that. And there was a significant pause. Let me play that again, and then I'm going to play it all the way through.
So you're saying how many times? You think you flipped more than once?
I'm not sure. It's at least once for sure.
Again, I find that weird. And, I'm giving you the benefit of the doubt thinking you're going or have gone through an incredibly, harrowing experience. But like I said, he paused for a long time. And then this answer, it's just weird to me. Like, dude, of course you flipped at least once. I mean, you just told us 10 seconds ago you're hanging upside down like a bat.
I'm not sure. It's at least once for sure.
And then, so you're hanging upside down. How did you get out of your seat?
This is like one of the first time I feel like George Stephanopoulos is just like nailing all the questions. So again, I wish you could see the video, but he's just uncomfortable answering these questions. He really is. And he's like, okay, how did you get out of your seat? It actually reminds me of the interview with the DOD chick, Kathleen Hicks and Jon Stewart, that I played the other day. She was uncomfortable. But all right, I'm gonna replay that little part, and then I'll play the rest. I won't interrupt.
And then, so you're hanging upside down. How did you get out of your seat?
Yeah, at that point, everybody was quiet for like a moment or two, and then everybody was trying to scramble to make a sense of what just had happened. And so we released the seatbelts that kind of fell to the floor, which is now the ceiling, and helped the lady next to me get out of her seatbelt. And then you heard the flight attendants yelling, "Open the door, everybody take your stuff and, get out now," right? So
Again, I'm trying to visualize all this stuff in my head, and I find it highly unlikely the flight attendants would say, "Grab your stuff." Like, okay, you're basically, you were upside down, you unclasped your seatbelt, you fell to the floor, and then he's basically saying, I keep saying basically, he's saying that the flight attendants are like, okay, grab your carry-ons that are now basically, like, how do you even open the overhead compartment, which at this point, wait, the overhead compartment is on the floor now. And I'm pretty sure they wouldn't really care about your bag. They would just say, get off the plane.
And then you heard the flight attendants yelling, "Open the door, everybody take your stuff and, get out now," right? So they were professional. They were trying to get us out as quickly as possible. Everybody in the cabin was, I would say, relatively calm. We all worked together and got out of there as quickly as we could, because we could smell fuel as we were getting out of the plane.
All right, the last thing on this, just pay attention to this part again.
Everybody in the cabin was, I would say, relatively calm. We all worked together.
All right, so in summary, this was the first interview I saw with this guy, John Nelson, and he said everybody was relatively calm. All right, now we're going to switch to the interview he did with CNN.
Yeah, I mean, it was mass chaos. I was upside down. The lady next to me was upside down. We kind of let ourselves go and fell to hit the ceiling, which is surreal feeling.
So remember, on the Good Morning America interview, he said everybody was relatively calm.
Everybody in the cabin was, I would say, relatively calm. We all worked together.
But I guarantee you, his PR person was like, dude, you're an idiot. Don't say everybody was relatively calm. Who's going to be relatively calm? Say chaos.
Yeah, I mean, it was mass chaos. I was upside down. The lady next to me was upside down.
Hopefully you got to laugh at that last part. But I'm telling you, here, homeboy drives it home. Watch.
Was anyone injured? I mean, what did you see? We know there were some injuries. What was it like?
Chaos. There was injuries. There was hurt individuals. Yeah, I mean, it's just all the emotional roller coaster that you go through, but things you hope you don't see again, right?
All right. Oh my God. I can't even believe I did 30 minutes on this. This is nuts. Okay. So let me finish. And you know what? This will be all I talk about today. But if you watch this guy's videos, again, this guy's name is John Nelson. He's like the main passenger that everybody interviewed. It looks like they brought someone else that they're interviewing as well. And that guy had like a cut on his bald head. So maybe they needed to reinforce that people did get injured because it was such a harrowing situation. But anyway, I don't know, man. It just comes off weird to me. It just does. And I know I say a lot of things come off weird. I get it. Trust me, I get it. And I do check myself a lot with like not turning into, everything is a conspiracy guy. But I'm telling you, it just was goofy. The whole thing was goofy. The fact that, we didn't get the proper videos from the 3,000 high definition cameras that are there. We didn't get the recordings of the pilot talking to air traffic control. Instead, the first 3 videos that were released all across social media were supposedly, random people filming at the airport. Again, that stuff's a little odd to me, and again, it's plausible. It's plausible. Everything's plausible. Okay, to finish, what is the purpose of all this? Like, why would they go through all this trouble to I don't know, to do all this? This is what I'm thinking through a little bit. And I will say the 2 narratives that seem to be getting created, and it's interesting because one is from one side and the other is from the other. The pro-Trump right side, they're trying to make all of these airline crash situations like DEI situations. Even this one, I don't know. I haven't seen if they've said if the pilot was male or female, but I have seen a ton of videos about female pilots, asserting themselves in terms of, hey, we can do it just as well as the guys can do it. And again, those videos are all being posted by the right conservative pundits who are basically saying, hey, do you care about DEI when it comes to your pilot and your safety? And even in this case, I have seen a bunch of people saying that it was a female pilot. Hold on, let me check. All right, the only thing I'm seeing right now is Delta CEO says flight crew on Toronto plane that crashed was experienced, but I don't see them saying whether it was a male or female pilot. But again, the right side, the narrative that they're creating with this one, it also was with the DC plane crash that crashed into the Black Hawk chopper. I'm not going to say Black Hawk Down. One of my crack research team told me, they're like, why do you keep calling it Black Hawk Down? That was a movie. It's just a Black Hawk. So, okay, I appreciate the feedback. The DC plane that crashed into the Black Hawk helicopter, if you remember, there was also a female pilot involved in that. So the narrative on the right is involving like saying, this is why we want to get rid of DEI, blah, 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 right? And then on the left, I will say I am seeing a ton of stuff like this, and I'm going to read it to you. Just in, the Delta plane from Minnesota with 80 souls on board that crashed in Toronto. This comes a day after Trump fired hundreds of Federal Aviation Administration workers, FAA workers, and 3 weeks after Trump disbanded the Aviation Safety Board. Trump's reckless safety cuts are going to get us all killed. So I'm seeing on the left a ton of that stuff, that narrative being all about, really all these cuts at the FAA that Trump and Elon and Doge and all these people are doing and all of that. And then they're saying because of that, the safety has gotten I guess, lax, and this is why all these plane crashes are happening. So anyway, keep that stuff in mind. Seriously, keep that stuff in mind. For those of you that got a kick out of this episode and think I'm crazy, I appreciate that. But I'd also appreciate your thoughts on it. So feel free to hit me up on it. All right. Oh, man. Okay. Have a great day. Have a great night. Seriously, if nothing else, come on. You got to admit this is fun dissecting this stuff to this level. And I'm telling you, everything is goofy these days. We live in a goofy world. We are living in a goofy world, and I am a goofy girl.
That was a great way to end it.
By the new book, Deep Shallow Dive Into You, available now on Amazon and Barnes & Noble in hardcover and paperback. Don't forget to sign up for our new mailing list on our website at deepshallowdive.com.